a song of history long, a struggle for the borough we all love, the Rutherglen town, a town strong, whose people bear allegiance to the crown. In Rutherglen we've got Orangemen, whose patriotic flame will never die. And when you hear the battle cry, it will be the Orangemen in Rutherglen.
Hi and welcome back to the Orangemen from Rutherglen as we continue to tell the stories of the Orangemen and women from Rutherglen. We hope you had a fantastic 12 and with lodge meetings finally given a green light to return this month, and we will welcome all new members. If you're interested in joining the Orange, please message the page and we'll be able to give you the information that you need. This podcast will celebrate its 1 year anniversary next month, and up until now we have focused on 10 senior members of the lodge with a total of 520 years between them. And along with the incredible stories that they've told us throughout the last couple of months. Today we take a sort of slightly different approach and we interview one of the brothers that's been in the Orange for 6 years. However, in that 6 years he's held with pride office of Substitute Master, Deputy Master, Worthy Master, and served on the Social Club as Secretary and Committee Member. With his 6 years, he's already shown with membership like him joining the district will have a bright future ahead of itself for decades to come. I'm happy to introduce from King William's own LOL 255 brother Ian Bell. Ian, thanks very much for joining us tonight and agreeing to tell us your stories of joining the Orange. We usually just start way back at the start, at the basics, and tell us how did you join the Orange and what made you choose 255?
Right, okay. I think the main kind of link that I had was the football bus that kind of connected me to it. I remember very distinctly coming back from Hampden and visiting here and looking for a supporters bus that I could use to go to away games, and chapping on the door, and the face I saw was the late past master brother Billy Boyce, and he was like such a polite, well-mannered person, and said, listen, just come back on Saturday, we'll sort you out. And that kind of connected me to this place, to the actual supporters bus. And then from the supporters bus you go to all the football games, home and away, you sing the songs, you talk to people, you see symbols, you see other things, and you're like, what is this, how does this is something else here. And then I thought, right, I looked a bit more into it, and I kind of saw obviously the strong religious aspect towards it with the Orange, and I thought this is something interesting. So at that point I said it was actually to John, the bus, the person that runs the bus, and then he put me to Billy, who was in 255, and that kind of made the connection.
Excellent.
At that point I didn't actually even know that there was other lodges within the district, and that I learned as I went down, but that was just that connection between one person that created that link, and just a curiosity as well.
That's in it. It's quite similar to myself with Brother Smith. I'd done the same. I'd joined the band when I was younger, and on Big Walk Day I actually said to him, well, I'd like to figure out to join this, and I think he did actually decide at the time, thought he's not going to follow through with this, but it's amazing how much you can have a link, and there's so many people you meet through the football that are in the Orange and stuff like that, so it's good that. And also Brother Boyce as well, probably would find a gentleman to help you join the lodge, to be fair, as well. So he's one of the legends in the district anyway as well. So was there any other reason you felt it was the right time to join in no earlier in your life?
I think earlier in my life I didn't know really that much about the Orange and about the kind of loyalist side, only that you would have a parade on the 12th and the bands would come out and all that kind of stuff. And at the time I was still at Stonelaw Parish Church, and there was no real, I felt as if there was no advertising, so there was nothing that somebody said to me, oh, join the lodge, join the Orange. And at that time I was still working with the Boys Brigade, so working through that.
That's what that, because we were talking to obviously Brother McCall last month as well, and he was saying like the sort of way the Church of Scotland and the Orange are fairly a wee part, and we'll talk about in depth for that, how we hopefully it can sort of linked together, but maybe it's something we can look to the future, that maybe there is people in the churches that want to join but don't know, and we can maybe look to come back with the church and maybe a bit more stronger together, where you could go and somebody go, I could be quite interested in that, because it's another one that's coming through the church as well, which is good to know that, because there's a lot of people that, you know yourself, they're religious but not to the extent of some, so maybe something that we could look to maybe implement into the churches. It's something we go, well, that looks like a good idea actually to do that.
To connect.
So going back to when you joined, you spoke to our boys and stuff like that. Do you remember your first meeting?
I remember coming down, fully dressed, smart, brought my Bible, brought my BB stuff. Didn't really know what to expect. Probably the same with everyone. They're just wondering what's happening here, and it was basically my usual inquiry, asking questions and stuff. And I remember Brother Aitken saying to me, that Bible, that's basically stands the test of time. The fact that you've brought that, and it answered a lot of his questions, and it was quite daunting getting into the committee room and then having the questions, and then that was me. It went that was the end of it. You know, so you saw things, but you're like, okay, right.
It's just such a
it's that kind of fear factor, and I think it's what kind of puts people off a wee bit sometimes, that this fear, or they don't know what to expect. It's that kind of secret kind of level, and there's only so much you can say until you actually officially join.
No, definitely.
Do you know?
Because I think a lot of people like, well, I remember the first meeting, it was daunting, scary, but it's amazing how fast it goes away.
Oh, aye, I mean, it disappears.
Like yourself, 6 years been in the Orange, and how much you've achieved and accomplished, it's great.
You wouldn't think it's 6 years, honestly. You wouldn't think it's 6 years.
We always say that, just the fact that how much people help you as well. It's great to go and the help that's around there. See, obviously, you said you didn't know much about the order before, excuse me, but see, when you came in and were in a few months, did you think maybe you knew a wee bit more than you thought you did, or was it still just, no, you don't?
I think it was like a jigsaw. I think when you see the certain items during your meeting, you do certain rituals, it kind of all started to connect together. And then I did see the strong religious aspect. A lot of people kind of say that, oh, the Orange, that's nothing to do with religion, or it's got no part of Christianity, but they're wrong in the sense that it is strong, and it's part of the whole procedure. And I could see that, and I thought, this is interesting, good. Do you know?
Definitely.
It ticked a lot of the boxes. And again, as you said, when you join, you'll find a wee place, and you'll find usually a seat somewhere in the hall that you'll sit down, and that will probably be your seat every meeting. But then you get to talk to people, you get to see what they do, and you just contribute as much as you can.
Oh, definitely. Exactly. We'll ask a wee bit in depth later on, but did you see, sitting in there, your first meeting, that 6 years down the line you'd be worthy master?
It was more of a series of events that kind of caused it to happen, in the sense that the previous substitute master dropped, and then the deputy, and it kind of came into the fold, and even the more senior members of 255 were kind of thinking, is he ready? Does he have enough knowledge? He's going to make a good few mistakes, but we'll teach him along the way. But they're very supportive, and they're very helpful.
Did you feel ready?
I don't think you ever feel ready. Do you know, it's that kind of question, you just go for it. Do you know, and if you muck it up, you muck it up. If you mess up, then they'll tell you, and they'll say to you, right, don't. And I always remember at the end of each meeting, them saying to me when I was in the chair that, right, don't do that, or do it this way, and they'll sit down with you and they'll tell you.
I think as well, excuse me, 255 as well, I think they've got wee bits of differences that other lodges do as well. So
every lodge has got its own wee kind of quirks, or its own wee certain routines, and that's where I found it quite good when I started going round all the lodges. When I started to go to whole building and district meetings, when you move up that stage, you actually see the bigger picture.
No, definitely.
And it kind of opens your eyes a wee bit, and you see different ways of doing things. Some lodges do it this way, some do it this way.
Oh, definitely. There's been a couple of rides with 255, and they always do that wee bit different, and but it's good to see as well, because every lodge is different.
And that's what makes each one unique.
No, definitely. Was there any members when you joined who particularly supported you and helped you from the start?
Well, probably Brother Boyce. He was very helpful, and Brother Aitken as well. Brother Aitken always says, and it's this famous words every time he brings somebody new in, he said that the most important member of your lodge is the newest member that's joined, and I felt that was quite good, a kind of good kind of encouragement, because you've got somebody coming into your lodge with a fresh approach, fresh ideas. They're not been bombarded with previous things, and they just give their opinion. Brother Nixon as well, at the time he was Worthy District Master, and he was really helpful, it still is. And Brother Malik, our treasurer, all they've got so much years of experience, and they've seen it all, and they've done it all, and they were very supportive. And they're all very supportive.
No, definitely.
All very helpful.
I think it's one thing we always say when you join. You'll join naive, scared, probably at the time, a wee bit apprehensive, but the support you get is unbelievable. Like, we speak to all through them. It's just as amazing the support that you do get. Definitely. At the time of joining 255, sorry, did you know they were the biggest lodge in the district at the time?
No. I was completely blank. I mean, I didn't know at the time. It was just they recommended 255. I didn't even say, right, is there other lodges? I might try other lodges, I might move and just pick which one I liked. But there were, I mean, there's always a bit of kind of competition between lodges. So they were kind of like, 255, biggest lodge, most experienced, all this kind of stuff. But it's just one of those things. Sometimes it's just luck.
Oh, definitely.
When you make choices in life, and that was the path that I went down at that moment in time.
This is it. See, when you were in, you realised it was the biggest lodge in the district and things. Was it a bit more daunting taking positions and stuff like that?
Aye, definitely. I think because there was so much experience in 255, I thought, Fleming, this is going to be a tall order here.
Because I remember when I joined, obviously 12 first into 213, they're obviously smaller lodges, so you sort of have a wee idea that my time's probably going to come a bit sooner. But well, you probably didn't expect it to be so soon.
No. I think usually, I mean, a lot of them were saying to me, listen, nobody hits a position usually for at least 5 years. You know, you build up your experience, you understand the routines and the rituals, and then you get to that position. But it was just a series of events that kind of forced me into that position.
No, definitely.
That, and I usually kind of say no to people, so that kind of didn't help. But
sometimes it can be quite difficult to say no in the minute.
It is sometimes quite daunting, but it's always in a positive. You know, it's nothing.
No, that's easy. But it's testament to yourself, because you're a great brother for the district, definitely, and being so young as well. Like myself and Brother Smith, it's good because we've all been in the positions and stuff like that as well. So it's good to know that maybe we can keep it going for like the younger generation coming in.
It's getting the youth. The youth is the key to this.
I think it is massive. I think we've got a couple more applications for younger members to join after, well, now that the restrictions are sort of lifting up. So it's only good to see it. There's a wee bit of negativity to the Orangemen young ones, and I don't know why, but I think it's just try and break it down a wee bit to say, don't listen to the stories, come and see it.
Come and see it for yourself. You'll hear opinions from everyone, and you'll hear positive, negative, and the key thing is that you take all those opinions on board, but then you make your choice. You make your decision based on what you think is right. And there's nothing stopping you going in for a couple of months and then saying, listen, hands up, this isn't for me, I'll just walk back now. And there's nothing wrong with that.
No, definitely, of course there's no, definitely. So it's now time to take a little break while we watch some adverts from the 20 Social Club and the district, but stay tuned and we'll learn a little bit more from Brother Bill.
Rutherglen, we've got Orangemen, this patriotic flame will never die. And when you hear the battle cry, it will be the Orangemen and Rutherglen.
Our town, our culture, our traditions, our history, our members. For the first time ever, the members of Rutherglen Orange and Purple District 20 can tell their stories to you as part of Rutherglen's first ever podcast. Join me, Jason Hamilton, as I meet the Orangemen from Rutherglen at 6 p.m. on the first Sunday of every month, live on the district's Facebook, Twitter and YouTube pages.
Welcome to the 20 Social Club.
Rutherglen, along with the rest of Scotland, is now at level 0 of the Scottish Government's coronavirus tier system. This is great news, as it means we can see the easing of some restrictions, such as the return of live entertainment on Saturday nights and our monthly lodge meetings returning. However, we are not safe yet. We need you to do your bit and help us out of all restrictions. When arriving, please sign our track and trace book or scan the QR code at the main entrance. This is a legal requirement and is to protect you and other customers in the premises. Remember, when attending the 20 Social Club, please wash your hands thoroughly and carefully and use the hand sanitisers provided around the halls. When entering, leaving or moving around the club, make sure you wear a face mask fully covering your mouth and your nose. And finally, remember, keep 1 metre distance between yourself and those from out with your bubble to restrict the chance of unnecessary contact. We are nearly back to normal, but we need you to remember hands, face, space for a safer Scotland.
Rutherglen, we've got Orangemen, whose patriotic flame will never die. And when you hear the battle cry, it will be the Orangemen and Rutherglen.
Welcome back to the Orangemen from Rutherglen. I'd like to thank both the Rutherglen Orange and Purple District and the 20 Social Club for their support during the filming of these podcasts. It's been greatly appreciated. It's fantastic that we're now fully opened with less restrictions and lodge meetings are scheduled to return this month. I'm still here with Brother Bell as we continue to tell his stories and his journey through as an Orangeman. So before the break, we'll talk about you joining 255. It wasn't long before the lodge put their trust in you and you were soon made substitute master, deputy master, birthday master. How did you feel taking up responsibility so early in your Orange career?
Very daunting, very daunting. And I think even Brother Aitken and Brother Dixon were even considering themselves as this the best person to put in charge at this moment. Not that his time his time will come, but it was just a keenness, and I think they thought, well, we'll support you all the way, and it was great. You know, I enjoyed it. Definitely, probably will go back and do it again, maybe many years down the line when I'm in a more experienced position. But it was like a massive steep learning curve. Just basically scared in case I made a mistake, and the things you've got to learn to say, and all the rules and regulations. But then that's where your secretary kind of comes in play. Brother Aitken was fantastic. You know, he's like he's your right hand, and then you had your immediate past master on the other side, and then they kind of support you in your position. You're basically just keeping the meeting going and doing your position. But it all kind of falls into place itself. And I think just the biggest fears for most people is probably the nerves. You know, it's just the nerves of standing up in front of people and presenting. But I would just say to anyone who's kind of dubious in that position, listen, just go for it. You know, just say, listen, I'm just going to knock this. And if you make mistakes, you make mistakes. But you'll look back and say, listen, I'm glad I done that.
Oh, definitely.
Do you know, I'm really glad. I'm glad I made that decision and went for it, because you learn so much, and it builds you up as a person as well. Do you know?
Definitely. I think as well, in 2005 you've got great Orangemen as well that are respected throughout the district as well, that they'll be able to help you as well. I mean, and it must have been definitely daunting to stand up and take a position for some of the Orangemen that are in there, because they're well respected. And even as well, it'd be a bit different. It must have been really quite scary to be felt to sit in there, because you probably get more people at a meeting than most lodges will as well. So to stand, and I remember my first time stand up and reading the book and stuff like that. It was really good. But I bet you know the opening and closing statement off by heart.
Oh, you know off by heart now. You know, it's like remembering the Lord's Prayer. It becomes second nature to you. But at first you're kind of like, okay, we're going to get my head around this.
I remember looking and thinking, I'll never remember that. As well, you also showed great interest in the first degree lecture and ultimately learned how to do the lecture from Brother Douglas Aitken without telling too much. How did you learn the lecture?
It's just memorising, kind of putting it as a story, because it is basically a story and it has the important religious side to it. Again, me and Brother Aitken and Brother Jim Taylor, the two of us just kind of do a double act. So we did do a couple of trips to the Whole Park Club in Cambuslang, so they do the lecture training, great guys, and they opened my eyes a wee bit to another area, and they kind of thought it's not all just in the 20 Club in Rutherglen. There is other places that are connected, and they were good, they helped me out. So I got basically first degree done. I've still got a lot to do, you know, moving forward. You know, there's so much more you could still learn. But again, as I said, it's practice, and it is like the Lord's Prayer. You know, once you've learned it, you'll never forget it. You know, and it's like that trigger word, and it's good. And when you're saying it, it is a story. It is important, and it is going back to the Bible. It is just telling the story of the Bible and how this all fits into place.
Did you find it a wee bit easier being quite religious and being at church?
It gave me a lot of the stories that I'd learned in Sunday school. I could now connect to it, mostly from the Old Testament. But it was good to see that connection and see the symbols that you see in the room and how they connect to it.
So was it just a matter of paper, speaking, chatting?
Well, it's not meant to be written down, so it's always got to be oral. So it was a case of what Douglas would speak one part, and then I would repeat it, recite it, and you could do it in bits and stages.
Right, perfect.
And then you just build up the knowledge, and even still, when we still do it, you know, we still make wee blips, and we will make wee blips because of lockdown. You know, you've not done it for such a long time, but again, it's part of the ritual. It's part of a system of rules and regulations that are put in place for a reason, and you maintain those rules that have been done for so many years by other generations.
No, definitely. You then joined the Royal Order of the Apprentice Boys of Derry. What made you decide to join them?
It was kind of like a jigsaw. You know, you had ourselves doing our parades, and the big one for the Battle of the Boyne, but then there was also these kind of people walking as well with crimson collarettes on, and you're like, okay, so what's the difference here? And obviously there's still the blacks as well that I'm not part of, But it was like a jigsaw, and the more I investigated, the more I asked questions. They were like, well, listen, what happened before 1690? What led up to that? What's part of the history? And the Apprentice Boys kind of connects that together, and it's good. I would say, trying not to, on one side, the Apprentice Boys seems to now have an upper hand compared to the Orange, but it kind of, I've spoke to quite a few people and they say this kind of goes in peaks and troughs. Sometimes in the past the Orange had a greater influence, and it kind of goes swings and roundabouts. But they do work. I mean, your majority, you find that in your lodge, usually nearly half is in the Apprentice Boys, or they're in another association. Might not be this, it might be Masonic or Blacks or something. They're connected to other associations as well, and you see how they all kind of fit together in a kind of scale. But honestly, I would never look back in joining the Apprentice Boys.
What would you say are the main differences between the Orange and Apprentice Boys?
At the moment, the Apprentice Boys I think has a greater appeal to the younger members. Less, the rules aren't as strict as the Orange. Slightly different things happen. For instance, in the Orange you've got your 2 degrees that you work through with the religious aspect to them. The Apprentice Boys, you've got to go over and get dairy made in Londonderry, so there's different things between the two. I don't know if the Orange is maybe a wee step behind kind of in the time scale. I think the two need to, they probably do, but I'm no doubt that the two organisations work very well together, but I think they need to work more together. I think that one can't survive without the other. I think the two need to be linked. I also think that usually the Orange get a bad rep because they see the Orange and they think, oh, collarettes and stuff like that, whereas the Apprentice Boys seem to kind of slide under the radar a wee bit.
That's it. It's one as well, the things it's when you see on social media, oh, the Orange will open me up the day.
Aye.
And the Orange won't even out. Stuff like that, it's like to try and obviously maybe educate people as well that there is different things.
There is different things. Do you know, there is
Definitely.
different associations, there's different areas. I mean, I've spoke to people who have asked questions and they basically know, a lot of people just know hee-haw about it, do you know, to be honest. And they kind of think this is all bad. But there's so much charitable work as well.
Oh, definitely.
Both organisations do. And we do a bit, you know, the community, we're part of the community.
Definitely.
And it just kind of gets brushed under the carpet a wee bit, but then that's life. There's always going to be people that don't like it, there's people that do, and you respect their opinion, and that's it.
It's one of the reasons why we've done these things, was to show people that we don't just want to walk by a chapel buying a big drum.
No.
There's just so much more to it. And I think from also Bill Smith's sort of dealings with the community and all a bit more in depth as well, I think people are starting to realise that we're no these evil, bigoted people.
I mean, I remember in work when they found out and they were like, oh, hold on a minute here. But a lot of people that kind of, they heard about it, they thought, they talked to me in a different way at first. But then as the months went on, they thought, he's just the same person he was even before he joined it. So it's not changed them, you know. So maybe their perception of this organisation is not truthful.
No, definitely.
Know? But it is one of those kind of big decisions you make as in your family, and you think, right, how's this going to affect my kind of work relationships with certain people? And it's a personal choice.
No, definitely.
But you've got to say to them, listen, have I changed before I joined it? Have I changed after it? No, I'm still the same person.
No, definitely.
So
you also became the social club secretary after joining the committee. What made you decide to take up such a very important role in the committee?
I think it just became because the previous secretary person resigned. She for work and family commitments, she had to take down the post. She had to step down. So it was a case of Brother McNaught had to get someone else to take on the post, and I was on the committee at the time. I'd previously been on the committee, and I thought, right, okay, take a chance here. And again, the committee fully supported me. Do you know, and it's all about kind of getting into the routine. So I get into a routine when it comes to doing stuff for the committee. On certain nights of the week, I'll do it. Come down here, and that's my certain time when I focus on that. And you give a couple of hours, but you get a lot back. You'll also you learn more about how the workings of it all comes together, and you build up more friendship with more people.
Definitely. Of course, with the impact of COVID, as secretary, you've been at the forefront of all the changes the club had to implement. How much do you think COVID has had on the club?
COVID's had a massive impact on every organisation, everyone around the world. I mean, I would say that I've helped along the way, but the kind of key person I would say that really has helped this club is Brother Nixon. With his treasury skills, he has applied for grants, he's helped recover money from certain areas, and he's done a fantastic job. So really, for me, I'm not the limelight. Brother Nixon is. He's the one that's put a lot of work into this, and it's put the club in a good financial position. The committee we've got is small, but it's a good, hard-working wee committee, and I think you only need to just think maybe 2-3 years ago, and then think now, and walk around the place and look, and you can see fresh coat of paint, floor redone, new vinyl, new lighting, new ventilation. You look in all the rooms and you think, whoa, okay. So this it's transformed, and it's a great place to come. It's a great place if you want to book the hall for a party or for your birthday or for any events. Do you know it's affordable, great environment, great facilities. So I mean, personally, during COVID, the biggest thing I've ever done as a secretary is made umpteen signs. I think if you look round the place, if you see a laminated sign, you know it's from me. Do you know what I mean? That's get a sign up. But I think COVID, people have been deprived of the place, and I think people are now more appreciative of it.
Definitely.
And thinking, actually, I missed just popping in, saying hello, grabbing a pint, and then just getting to know people. And I think because hopefully now that restrictions are starting to relax, that people take up that opportunity and think, listen, there's a certain event on, cultural day, there's another event, and then actually come down and support the club to help improve it.
I think definitely, we're speaking all through the podcast thing, it's definitely one thing that we probably all did take it for granted, excuse me, and just expected. Look, a club will be there.
Aye, always be there.
But obviously being able to come in and film these and seeing the transformation you're talking about, the hall was looking absolutely fantastic. It's absolutely perfect.
And there's plenty more to come, and it's a case of, if you look around and you think, oh, I'd like a wee bit of that, then come and speak to us, speak to Brother McNaught, speak to myself, speak to anybody in the committee, say, listen, I'd like to help out a wee bit here. And even that wee small little contribution can make a big difference.
Definitely.
Do you know? And many hands make light work.
Definitely. Now that they're opening up again and restrictions seem to be easing, do you have any message to people wanting to use the club, or maybe a wee bit apprehensive of coming back to the club and things like that?
Listen, don't be afraid. Come and see what's happened, come and see what's been done. Use it. Do you know, especially to the Orange members out there, you've got this facility, you've joined the institution, even the same with the apprentice boys. Do you know, use the facility you have got here. Because the old expression, if you don't use it, you'll lose it. I mean, times are moving on and it becomes more competitive. So you've got to think, right, I love this. I love what I joined. Think back to the early days when you first joined the Orange Association and the great nights you had in this hall, and think, I want those nights back. Well, if you want them back, you're going to have to kind of say, right, I'm going to come down. I'm going to contribute a wee bit, spend a few hours down here, say hello to people, and just get a catch up.
Definitely.
You know?
I think as well, excuse me and Brother Smith are speaking just over the 12 period and things that I feel as if, because it was taken away from us, and then people are realising that, do you know, I do miss it, and as you say, pop them down. If you're going to be out, come in for a pint, have a wee thing, sit and chat, because I think people are starting to enjoy it a bit more, and I think a few of the lodges are seeing a wee increase as well, which is good.
That's
due
good.
to people, I think, missing it. A lot of people have maybe been lapsed and went, no, do you want to go back into it? So it's good. So if there is anybody that does feel, do you know, I think I want to go yet I go again,
Just speak to us. That's
it could possibly be a new time, because we've came from a pandemic, people maybe enjoy it again, so maybe just have a wee thing, people come back down if you think it might be a wee bit different again, because I think people are going to enjoy it a bit more, because we've not been able to do it. I think a wee break could maybe be good for us.
It kind of makes you think, actually, it's on my doorstep, and I've not really kind of appreciated it. And it's great to go to other places, to go to other districts and go around Glasgow, even further afield, and see how other social clubs work and how other districts run their stuff. But it's nice to always remember home. I know, I think over the 6 years, I've seen squabbles, I've seen political things, but then that's in the same in any organisation, you name it, church, work, there'll always be wee divides. But you've got to kind of put your differences aside and say, right, what is the main cause here? What am I fighting for? And the old expression, united we stand, divided we fall.
Definitely.
You know, if you don't support, then hate to say it.
No, we'll not be here.
Nobody here.
Just go back to the Orange a wee bit more in there. So over the last 6 years, what would you consider your most memorable moments in the Orange?
I'd probably say there's three things. Doing my second degree, which really opened my eyes to the religious aspect of the Orange Association and taught me a lot, and kind of basically set in stone that this was what I wanted to join. 255 had a Burns night. We don't usually take our anniversary date in December, and what we do is we do a Burns night. Now this was reinstated, and brother Paul McNaught, a massive thank you to the man who basically took over and organised it. Done a fantastic job, absolute fantastic job, and we done that for 2 years, and that was great. Great atmosphere, great night, and it was just nice to hear all the stories, all the heritage, and just to see all the faces back together again. And then the final one, obviously, on the day of the walk, you get the bond that comes to your house. That was great experience, you know, having them down, a few drinks, and then out and then on parade. There's no other association that would do that, and it's a great experience in your life. Rattled a few neighbours' doors a wee bit, and set a few things in stone, but then that's fine. You know, sometimes you're better just being open about it and just saying, this is who I am. If you like it, fine. If you don't like it, it's your decision.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
it's when I did also picking up the master, it's when I was master, I didn't get the chance to be picked up. Obviously brother Shearer was great with us because he allowed us to use his house, but because I was from Glasgow, we weren't allowed to do it, so
location.
I got to miss out a wee bit, but it was vice versa. She had a feel for it. It was like, so it was good, and
It's your special day.
definitely, and it's great to be able to get picked up as well. 'Cause it makes you feel that. It makes you feel
Makes
good.
it
The
a wee
fact
bit
that,
special.
but
Aye.
definitely,
Aye.
that's exactly it. Have now been a member and got involved in the Orange in the last few years. Is there anything you feel as a district or indeed as an institution that we should be doing a wee bit better or already doing that we could do different to improve us?
I think we've came on massively. I do think, and I think yourselves, Brother Smith and Brother Jason, I think the 2 years have done a great job, and even since lockdown, all the stuff you've done on social media, and that's been a big push, you know, because when I first joined, I was like, right, are we on Facebook? Are we on Twitter? Kind of social media minded? No, we're still in the dark ages here. You know, we're still writing stuff down. We're not using laptops and computers and all that kind of stuff. But then that's just a cultural thing. But yourselves are doing a fantastic job. You know, just pushing it out there and saying, listen, let's talk to people. Let's get their opinions. I do think, as you said, the focus is on the youth. You know, the youth itself. I mean, most the young ones now, it's the football. You know, it's the football that drives them, or it's usually sometimes the bands. You look over in Northern Ireland and you see it's more of a kind of culture. There's a great kind of family culture over in Northern Ireland, whereas over here that's kind of lost for certain reasons. But then it is what it is. So I think really focusing on the youth and saying, even looking at your supporters buses and saying, listen, son, you interested here? Do you know, even the cultural days are perfect. Because they're the opportunity for you to invite people down and for them to actually see what it's all about.
Definitely.
Because I think there's such a crossover here between it all. And also try and bring back some of the old members. You know, see some of the ones that have maybe fallen out for certain reasons. Sometimes it's just petty things that people just fall out and leave their certain lodge or become lapsed, and going back and saying, listen, things have changed since then. Come down, look at the place, join again. You know, and join back in and build up the numbers, because I mean, so many people I speak to say, oh, 255 used to have hundreds, used to be queued out the door on a Saturday night for the social club, and what happened? You know, what happened in that kind of, what changed that caused those numbers to just completely drop? And I think It's just it's the youth, do you know?
Definitely. I agree. I think the Brother Smith with the full social media aspect, he's done a fantastic job. But I always just say to this, I'm just the looks. I don't know if anybody agrees to me, but at least makes myself feel a bit better. But no, Brother Smith's been doing great. With
you've got to embrace. If you don't embrace change, then you'll die.
Yeah, definitely.
You see that in every point of society.
I think as well, I think even higher up the scale with the Orange Order now, excuse me, I think to a lot, as you said, older members, the social media was like, stay back, it's bad. But
that fear factor.
when it's that, that's exactly it. I think when Bill Smith started it, I think they're all starting to see that it's free advertisement, it's free connection to people. So why not be on it? Why not make? Of course, there's negative parts of social media, but with something like this, you're probably not going to get much of it because people are not going to follow if they don't believe in it and stuff like that. But they'll see it pop up. But I think definitely, as you said, the social media aspect's a massive part.
It's moving by the times, the PR kind of, and also even saying to yourself that, right, okay, I've been in this institution for so many years, right, good, you've done a great job and you're a great supporter, but let the younger ones have their chance. Let them maybe get to higher positions in the institution and say, listen, I think it's time maybe we step down and let them take over. Okay, we're still there in the background, giving them support and helping them out, but just maybe say it's time for me, maybe if I don't let this go now to the youth, it might end up, the youth might just say, sod it, I'm off, and go elsewhere.
No, definitely.
Do you know?
Just finally on that, what advice would you give to any people or young person wanting to join the order?
I think just talk to someone, talk to your friend, talk to someone you know who's maybe in an association, and ask them the questions and say, what do you get out of this? What do you enjoy with it? A lot of people are kind of iffy, kind of thinking, right, well, what night is the meeting on? Hold on, are the Rangers playing that night and all this kind of stuff, and that's always a factor. But listen, the associations work around that.
Of course,
you know, we know what. We know the kind of the key dates and all that stuff, and they work as a team. You know, sometimes you can get some good nights and you have to stand united and basically just come down. And sometimes it's making that bridge. See that kind of walking through the door and just saying, right, that kind of gasp of, I just need somebody to speak to. I just need somebody to show me. I know a lot of people have said to me, well, you know, it'd be great if we could maybe just come down to a meeting and just sit there at the corner and just watch and say, is this for me? Is this not for me? Obviously, certain rules, you've got to go through your initiation, stuff like that. But then do it and then see what it's like. Worst case scenario is that if you don't like it, then you can go.
No, definitely.
You know, but if you don't try, you never know.
No, exactly. Well, Ian, I'd just like to thank you again for really coming down and sharing your stories. It's been great, and it was a pleasure for us to have you here. It really was. I'd just like to thank everybody again for watching. Remember, give us a like on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and you'll keep up to date with all the other content that's coming. Next month, we'll be joined by Brother David Smith himself, LL 213, as we continue our stories of the Orangemen from Rutherglen. Thanks very much for watching.
I'll sing a song of history long, a struggle for the borough we all love, the Rutherglen town, a town strong, whose people bear allegiance to the crown. In Rutherglen we've got Orangemen, whose patriotic flame will never die. And when you hear the battle cry,